Well, that sucked. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my full Wrestlepalooza review. We are going to go through every single match that took place at Wrestlepalooza 2025. I'm going to tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and I'm going to talk about whether or not I agree with the results and where storylines can go from here as we head towards Crown Jewel. As you can see, I'm not in my regular setup. I'm currently traveling in Los Angeles, so I'm not in the typical location that you're used to seeing me in. I've got this little hotel setup that we'll have to do for today's video. But we are still posting a different version of this review with footage over on patreon.com/SantiZap. So if you want like a more in-depth version that allows us to show you things frame by frame with real footage, go over there, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. We can't post that version here because it would just get blocked due to copyright. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, that's enough. Let's talk about Wrestlepalooza. Okay, so before we fully dive into my match-by-match thoughts, I just want to talk about the entire concept about this WWE Premium Live event being on ESPN and how it performed on ESPN. Here's the thing, I'm in the United States, but even though I'm in the United States, I refuse to get the ESPN subscription. I did use a VPN and I did watch it on Netflix. And by all accounts, that seems to be the best way to consume the show because I can't believe I'm saying this, but on a WWE Premium Live event, those that were watching on ESPN were eating advertisements as if this was a regular episode of Friday Night SmackDown in between matches. And when you increase the price by like 300%, an extra $22, and you jam-pack the ring with advertisements left, right, and center with the likes of Papa John's, freaking Walmart was on there, Slim Jim, to me, that's unacceptable. You should not be force-feeding more ads when you are charging more money. To me, that is unforgivable. Now, mind you, I watched on Netflix, so I didn't watch those ads. Instead, I had the classic countdown that we in an international audience get when the Americans are in commercial. So sometimes I just had to sit there for 3 minutes watching the WWE superstars doing their whole emote sequence like we do on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. Additionally, this whole notion that this show was going to be jam-packed of surprises, that it was going to be on par with WrestleMania, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but if that was the goal, it completely missed the mark. It was not even close. When it comes to like a big shock and awe to have, people driving conversations and talking, to me, they didn't land any of those. Don't get me wrong. There is stuff to like about this show. And again, we're going to go on things in a match-by-match basis. But in my opinion, the underwhelming ending of the show, the colossally terrible way to open the show, those two things on their own, plus everything that you add, like the advertisements happening to our American friends, to me makes this a bad show. Like simply just a bad B-tier PLE. There you go. For everybody that says Santi never says anything negative, Santi is just a corporate shill. There you go. I think that this show, for what it was trying to accomplish, simply just missed the mark and failed. Again, I want to make sure that I make it clear that there is still stuff to like about this show that I don't want you to miss out on, or I don't want you to appreciate simply because the bad was really, really bad. So let's go ahead and jump into things. Let's start by talking about Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. Initially, I was really excited for how they were producing this match. The fact that this match had a championship feel, that John Cena got his own full announcement to himself. The lights were dim like it was a championship match. We had Paul Heyman come out to do Brock Lesnar's in-ring announcement. That was utterly fantastic, and it absolutely succeeded in creating that big match feel that they were clearly going for. Very interesting to know that Paul Heyman was very focused on his like real sports accolades like NCAA and UFC, which makes sense because we're on ESPN. So from that regard, I thought that they started off things really well. Now, Now, unfortunately, what we got out of this is one of the most disappointing matches that I've ever seen. One of the most underwhelming ways to start what is supposed to be this big show that is going to be on par with WrestleMania in years to come. This was so incredibly deflating. I think the one takeaway from this is that every time John Cena comes out with children, we should just expect them to lose. It happened at WrestleMania 39 with Austin Theory, and it's happened again here with Brock Lesnar. But what do I even say about this match? I have no idea why they decided to go down the route that they ultimately did. First and foremost, if you've been watching the videos leading up to this, you know that I just would not be happy if Brock Lesnar won. And the reason for that is because it would mean that we would have to run John Cena versus Brock Lesnar again. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Brock Lesnar won, which means we need to run John Cena versus Brock Lesnar again. It could be a crown jewel. Now, with how it ended, I'm starting to lean towards Brock Lesnar being John Cena's final match. Because what we got between Brock Lesnar and John Cena was basically just the exact same match that we got at SummerSlam 2014, except nowadays it just doesn't land anywhere near as hard, because back then Brock Lesnar was off the back of beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania, this monster in the main event scene. But now, like, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see John Cena eat shit as much as he did in this match to Brock Lesnar, who's been gone for 2 years. And yes, I understand that the cathartic big moment is going to come somewhere down the line with Brock Lesnar finally losing to John Cena. But as it stands right now, as of the making of this video, having a match that is just full of F5s, literally 7 of them, is just a bad, boring choreography, and it deflated the crowd. The crowd was dead, like, for the rest of the show, and I accredit it to this incredibly underwhelming, just adrenaline-sucking booking of a match. I already wasn't a fan of Brock Lesnar winning. I'm triple not a fan of Brock Lesnar just eating Cena alive from beginning to end and just redoing SummerSlam 2014 and 2025. Like, I really, really did not like this. Now, if you're a Brock Lesnar fan, I would love to hear your input. Is this something that you liked? Because even I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Brock Lesnar fans. I don't know that this is the type of match that I would have liked to see for Brock Lesnar either. I think part of the reason that this match like significantly missed its mark is that WWE just did such a poor job of actually like building towards this match and creating the expectation that this is how things were going to go. Like, Cena just didn't really have the time to be able to build this narrative that he's going to get mauled and eaten alive by Brock Lesnar, but that he's still going to stand in there. He got to cut one promo about this. So when I look at end result versus the booking and the lead up into the match, they just really don't connect very well. I think that this is a failure in every way, shape, and form. Now, it's a failure on its own right now in a vacuum. When you maybe pay it off somewhere down the line, maybe we can look back on this a little bit more fondly. But right now, it's really hard to visualize how we're going to ever think about this fondly. In terms of what's next, well, Brock Lesnar, I don't know what kind of limited dates he has. He always has had limited dates. In terms of John Cena, we know he has super limited dates. He has 5 days left, and at least one of those days has to be guaranteed to be going up against Brock Lesnar. Will that be a crown jewel? I guess it could be. They could just immediately piggyback off the end result of this and go to the next match at Crown Jewel, because John Cena doesn't have any appearances on Raws or SmackDown between now and Crown Jewel. So maybe John Cena won't even have a match at Crown Jewel. Maybe he'll be part of the Grayson Waller effect or something of that fact. Either way, I thought the match was ass. I think everybody, for the most part, if you're reading online, was highly disappointed with how Brock Lesnar versus John Cena went. Just highly, highly underwhelming. Next up, we have the tag team match between the Usos and the Vision. Okay, so here's the first thing that I'm going to say about this match. It's not a bad match. People in my chat were saying boring, that they're not liking this, that this could be better. I don't disagree about the fact that it could have been better, but inherently this wasn't a bad match. I think that people were just so deflated and so let down with how the show started that it creeped into the next match, and that disappointment hadn't dissipated yet. So people went into that match just feeling down and just sad and bored and annoyed. Now, this match was always in danger of not feeling special in the sense that it didn't really have stakes and it was just a continuation of the same main event that we've seen like 17,000 different times already on Monday Night Raw. And I'm not gonna lie, at times this match did feel like a Monday Night Raw match. I think what really differentiated it was the fact that we had LA Knight out there as a special guest referee, which, by the way, when you try to look at it objectively, what a terrible decision to have LA Knight be the special guest referee of this match, considering he clearly has conflicts of interest here. There was some good tag team action. The Brawns look great with their tag team tandem moves. The Usos feel like they haven't really lost a step. We got to see a 1D. We got to have like a hardcore tag team match because LA Knight was the special guest referee. He's like, I don't give a shit. Go hit each other with chairs, which did add an extra fun wrinkle to this match that it desperately needed. We had a lot of chair shots. We had a table spot there at the end with Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso getting put through the table with a double spear from Braun Breaker, which was a really, really cool spot. We even had some blood, a lot of blood, albeit accidental blood, with Jey Uso seemingly accidentally hitting himself in the face with the chair, and he got gouged pretty bad. Like, the man was dripping blood out there. But after the double spear, Jey Uso ends up getting hit with the tsunami. He gets pinned, and the Vision wins. And I do think it's ultimately the right call. I think it's the right call because the Vision finally needed to win on a PLE and get a win from somebody that wasn't named Seth Rollins. And when you know the result that Seth Rollins would go on to lose a match later on in the night, I think this was a really smart way to keep the Vision strong. I will say I can't help but feel that this still kind of feels like a wasted reunion for the Usos, but they might continue to further explore this a little bit more as they continue to expand the tag team division on Monday Night Raw. In terms of what's next, sorry to disappoint you, it's going to be continuing this right through to War Games. It might change a little bit now as they re-add Seth Rollins into the equation, they re-add CM Punk into the equation, but it's not going to change a heck of a whole lot. I think the biggest change here is probably going to be the Brawns winning the tag titles, probably between now and Crown Jewel at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if at Crown Jewel, it's them running it back, the Usos versus the Vision for the tag titles this time around, and I think that'll make it a far more interesting affair. But overall, not a terrible match, not a fantastic match, but I think people are more sour on it than they should be because it followed what was an absolute metric butt ton of ass juice, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Next up, we had the wonderful match between Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer for the vacant Women's World Championship. I had so much high expectations for this match to the point where I thought that it was expectations that they were going to be impossible to meet. But I'm happy to tell you that Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky is a wonderful match, a technical masterpiece. Do I think it's the best women's match of the year? Let's come back to that a little bit closer to the end of the year. I think I need more time to really soak it in a little bit more. At first glance, I want to say that Io Sky and Rhea Ripley is better, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm comparing this match to what I think might be the best match all year. I think what was missing from this match was a hot crowd. The crowd certainly didn't do these two women any favors. These women were able to create an awesome atmosphere in spite of a dead crowd, and they did it with their fantastic chemistry with each other, their perfect, pristine timing, and the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, no shenanigans, just a clean victory for Stephanie Vaquer after she hits a absolutely beautiful spiral tap. I really like the story that they were telling in the ring as well, with Stephanie Vaquer systematically attacking Io Sky's knee, and the knee being the reason why ultimately it would open a window for Stephanie Vaquer to pick up the victory. I thought that this match was truly, genuinely wonderful. And again, my favorite aspect of this match is that it is something that ended clean, because we could have had all kinds of shenanigans. You could have had the Kabuki Warriors going out there, Rhea Ripley going out there, the Judgment Day maybe, but it was just a good, clean, one-on-one, wonderful set of graps between these two. Shout out to Wade Barrett for the quote of the year after the Devil's Kiss, with Wade Barrett saying, "Now that's a devil that I'd love to kiss," and Michael Cole replying, What? Great stuff. Love the match. Nothing but thumbs up there. In terms of what's next for Io Sky, it's just a continuation of what's going on right now with the Kabuki Warriors. I think that this loss here actually intensifies that story because now Asuka is going to be more mad at Io for not allowing them to come out to help. In terms of Stephanie Wacker, they're really lucky right now. There's nothing for Stephanie Wacker, but they're lucky in the sense that they don't need to do anything with Stephanie Wacker for a while because they just confirmed that the Crown Jewel championships are coming back for Crown Jewel. So they don't need to come up with a new feud for Stephanie Wacker because she's just going to face the champion from Friday Night SmackDown. And then after that, they don't need to do anything again because she's probably just going to be part of the Women's War Games match. So they don't really need to start thinking about a proper Stephanie Wacker feud until December. And guess who's probably ready to come back in December, January? Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan and Stephanie Wacker is the next major feud that we need for Stephanie Wacker here, and that would be an absolutely fantastic match and fantastic feud. Now let's move on to the mixed tag match with the teams of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch taking on the team of CM Punk and AJ Lee. Okay, so after seeing how the show ended with what was a very underwhelming finish with nothing in terms of surprise between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, I'm now super confident in saying that this match right here, the mixed tag match, should have 100% main evented. It was the longest match on the card as well, and it was warranted because there were like 5 different stages to this match. The first stage, granted, a little bit annoying because it was just CM Punk basically getting worked and as they try to build towards the AJ Lee hot tag, but they did it in a way where they really were milking it. Like there were like 5 separate occasions where we were this close to getting the hot tag, but in some way, shape, or form, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch prevent AJ Lee from getting in the ring. Like, for example, taking care of distracting the ref when the tag happened so that when AJ Lee went in, it wasn't legal and the ref forced her out, all the way down to like pulling down AJ Lee, preventing CM Punk from making the tag in the last second. They did it a bunch of times, but I think ultimately, as annoying as it was at the moment, I do think that it did a really great job at building hype towards the ultimate hot tag, because once the tag of AJ Lee happened, the match really takes off into so many great places. Now, if you're wondering, was there violence between men and women? There was plenty of violence of the women attacking the men. We even had a spot where Becky Lynch had CM Punk in a submission hold, in a sharpshooter, but in the way of like men attacking the women, we didn't really get the Baron Corbin end of days on Becky Lynch moment. We didn't get that moment of Seth Rollins hitting the curb stomp on AJ or CM Punk hitting the GTS on Becky Lynch. They certainly teased it, especially CM Punk hitting the GTS on Becky Lynch, but they never went there. And I know it's a bit of a taboo topic, but I do feel like from a storyline perspective, a GTS to Becky Lynch, I think would have been a well-earned major, like crazy spot for the fans, with us having to witness CM Punk getting berated and attacked and verbally abused by Becky Lynch, who has just been a wonderful, obnoxious heel throughout the whole thing. But I get it. It's a bit taboo, and WWE maybe just doesn't want to lean into that today. The match was at its best when we were seeing the two couples doing tandem moves with one another. Like there was a great moment where CM Punk and AJ Lee do a tandem like combination sliced bread, which attacked Seth Rollins and also hit Becky Lynch at the same time. Double pedigrees was a great moment. The best moment of the entire match was certainly the table spot where CM Punk and Seth Rollins are on one table and Becky Lynch and AJ Lee are on the other. Becky Lynch throws AJ Lee to the other table, spearing CM Punk, taking CM Punk and Seth Rollins with her and breaking the table. They go back into the ring. It looks like Becky Lynch is about to hit a manhandle slam to pick up the victory, but AJ Lee counters the manhandle slam into a wonderful Black Widow, which was just cinched in beautifully, and Becky Lynch taps out. I think that this was, from like an adrenaline perspective, probably the most hype that the crowd was all night, because they really were into the hot tag and just the shenanigans and craziness of the match after the hot tag as well. I think that this is the correct call. I think having AJ Lee win here and having be the reason why they won is what sets us up for the singles feuds moving forward. CM Punk and Seth Rollins can do their thing, but now we have fair and reasonable justification for AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. So that's certainly where they're going to go next. Good stuff. Thumbs up. This could be match of the night for some people. For me, it's still the Women's World Championship match. And the final match, the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Undisputed Championship. I honestly thought that I was going to have a lot to talk about here, and I really don't have a heck of a whole lot. Is Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre a bad match? Under no circumstance. It's a fine match. However, when I look at all of the other matches on this card, when I look at AJ Lee versus the mixed tag match, I'll even Brock Lesnar versus John Cena, this match was probably third fiddle. I don't think that on paper that this should have main evented. And I think a lot of people agree with that. Sure, it's the WWE Championship, but the way that this show was being booked, I don't think that it would have been crazy to put this match like second or third or open the show. Had Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes opened the show or been somewhere in the middle, I don't think that anybody would be talking negatively about the match because it was fine. Drew and Cody have wonderful chemistry with one another. The match was solid. Cool spot there towards the end with the table as a callback as to how Cody Rhodes was taken out, him dodging it, which hurt Drew McIntyre's knee, which caused the knee to buckle when he was about to hit the Claymore, which sets up the big comeback win for Cody Rhodes. It was fine. It was an okay match. But when you take the match that by all accounts shouldn't have been the main event and you make it the main event, it creates expectations. And I think expectations were high, but justified. High and justified because you took a match that shouldn't have been the main event and you made it the main event. But also because WWE continued to tout that, hey, this is going to be a crazy show, so many crazy twists and turns and surprises. So, of course, you kind of set us up to expect something like Randy Orton getting involved, turning heel, maybe Drew McIntyre actually winning. But no, it was just a win for Cody Rhodes. And it just felt lifeless. It felt like I felt like I was lied to in terms of the marketing and the expectation that was set for this match. Now, mind you, it was expectation set by us, the fans. But then I have to genuinely ask, why did this main event? The mixed tag match should have main evented. So again, the match is fine, but should it have been the main event? Hell no, it shouldn't have been the main event. And it now means that Wrestlepalooza started off really, really weak. And it ended in a pretty unremarkable way as well, which is why I just don't think that this was a very well-paced show or a good show at all. Overall, Wrestlepalooza, I do think I'm going to give it a thumbs down. There is stuff to like here, but the stuff that there is to question and dislike supersedes the good stuff in this show. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening to this. We'll be back in our regular studio for Monday. Hot Takes will also be recorded here, but that's it. Goodbye. Get out of here.